working in the spirit of the Golden Empire. This is 17 News at noon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Gitsky. Kids need to be physically present in school when it starts back in fall. Now, that's what the American Academy of Pediatrics is saying. The group, which represents and guides pediatricians across the country, has updated its school recommendations. It comes as states nationwide begin to unveil their plans for getting America's 56 million students back to school. On the AAP website, they say evidence shows the academic, mental, and physical benefits of in-person learning outweigh the risks from coronavirus. The group added schools are probably not greatly amplifying the spread of the virus, and children are less likely to become extremely sick from COVID-19 than adults. To lessen the risk of the virus spread, the AAP recommends elementary school grades focus on hand washing and use outdoor spaces when possible, while they say middle and high school grades should be required to cover their face if a 6-foot distance cannot be maintained. Well, conservatives on the Supreme Court have issued a ruling that could open the door to more public funding for religious education. The court ruled today in favor of Montana parents who want to use a state scholarship program to send their children to religious schools. It reverses Montana's Supreme Court, which ruled the state's constitutional bars all state aid for religious education. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the court's rulings along with his 4 conservative colleagues. It says no state is required to subsidize private education, but if it does, quote, it cannot disqualify some private schools solely because they are religious. Schools could look a lot different for students and staff if they head back in the fall. The Kern High School District Board met to discuss a number of issues, one of which was how to get students and staff back in the classroom and keep them safe from COVID-19. A lot of ideas were tossed around, including a shorter school week, multiple lunch periods, among other options. In the end, there was no decision made at the meeting. The board wants to talk with teachers and stakeholders before making any decisions about the next school year. The board plans to hold a special session next month. Well, parenting during the pandemic looks a little different, from schooling to helping kids stay connected. For those with teens, they may feel like their child is going out as restrictions are lifted, but don't know how to talk to them in a way they can see eye to eye. Jessica Burzloff, a licensed marriage and family therapist, explains how parents and their teens can work through this difficult time together.
Teens are sort of in this weird place where they're not quite adults, but they're also not children, and they do need a lot of independence. And so the most important thing is just to talk to them and respect them and listen to them. That's a good starting place with teens, is to listen and acknowledge their feelings, try and see things from their point of view, and from there, collaborate and find compromises that feel comfortable for you as the parent and for them as the teen.
Jessica explains parents should remind them this won't last forever and make plans for the future to look forward to. She also suggests parents should stick to the facts and link independence with safety. Well, the movement to defund police departments is heading to the Kern High School District. A petition on the website, change.org, wants the KHSD Board of Trustees to cut about $4 million from the district's police department. It's an effort led by a group called the Kern Education Justice Collaborative. The group wants that money to go towards hiring more school counselors, nurses, and social workers. Other goals include hiring more diverse teachers to reflect the student population and implementing ethnic studies. Well, Governor Gavin Newsom is streaming live today to give an update on the coronavirus crisis here in our state. Now, today he will be talking about the state's initiative to provide self-isolation for the homeless. We will bring him to you as soon as he becomes available. In the meantime, now let's go to the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County. Today, Public Health announced 107 new cases along with 2 deaths. Since March, 70 people have died from coronavirus in Kern. Local health officials confirm over 4,600 cases. 99 people are in the hospital, and less than 1,200 are self-quarantined at home. More than 58,000 tests have come back negative, and 700 tests are still pending. Local businesses have faced closures due to an uptick in coronavirus cases. The latest, Valley Strong Credit Union. The Mount Vernon branch is closed until July 2nd. This comes after a case of COVID-19 was confirmed at that location. It's not clear when the case was reported. The branch will remain closed as crews go in and give the building a deep cleaning. If you need to visit the credit union, other Valley Strong locations are still open in town. And Wool Growers plans to open its doors after one of its employees tested positive. Wool Growers says the employee learned of that positive diagnosis on June 23rd. The Basque restaurant shut its doors while it waited for all other employees to get tested. The owner says Wool Growers will reopen for lunch and dinner, adding that all staff members have tested negative for COVID-19. Well, the future of Kern County Fair is still undecided, but a decision was made about the livestock. The Kern County Fair Board met last night and announced the livestock show and sale will be held virtually this year. Exhibitors will have the opportunity to show and sell their animals online. CEO Mike Olcott acknowledged that many kids work hard to raise their animals for the fair. He said with all the unknowns about COVID-19, this is the only option to guarantee students get to show and sell their livestock. The board plans to make a decision about holding the fair at its July 20th meeting. Now, police are investigating a brutal attack on a transgender teen that nearly killed him. 17's Amber Frias spoke to the teen's mother and has more.
The teen says he doesn't remember anything about the attack that put him in the hospital for a month. Eurydice Darrington's 18-year-old son, Christian Roos, had recently left home.
He still called me every single day, just let you know I'm safe, etc. And one day I just didn't hear from him anymore.
On May 13, Darrington and her son's ex-girlfriend went to the Springs Apartments in Southwest Bakersfield where he was living.
So we kept banging on the door. She jumped over the gate for the little porch balcony thing and could see him in there.
Darrington says she was able to get a maintenance employee to open the front door.
My child was lying on the floor, barely could speak, barely could breathe. He had marks around his neck. His face was swollen on the side. He had bruises on his torso and his back, and his shirt was off. He's transgender, so that's really a knock. It's mean.
Christian was hospitalized and on a ventilator for 4 weeks. He's now in a long-term acute care hospital in Covina, where he's working on regaining full movement of his leg and arm. And he still can't talk due to the scar tissue in his throat. Anyone with any information is asked to call BPD at 327-7111. The family has also set up a GoFundMe account, and you can find the link to it on our website, kget.com. Amber Frias, 17 News.
ShotSpotter activations and shootings are happening more frequently. On Sunday, BPD officers were patrolling the area near Donna Avenue. That's when they attempted to pull a car over for a traffic stop. The driver kept going and officers followed the car. During that time, officers saw the driver throw firearms out of the car. Officers were able to get the driver to pull over, and he and another man in that vehicle were arrested. The guns were recovered, and it was determined that they were stolen. Well, distracted driving kills, and the Ridgecrest Police Department is working to curb the illegal behavior. Starting today, officers are focusing their efforts on drivers using their phones that are not hands-free. That violates the California cell phone law and is subject to a $162 fine for that first offense. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, more than 3,400 people were killed in 2016 by distracted drivers. Officers ask if you need to use your phone, pull over to a safe parking place. They also recommend putting your phone somewhere out of reach to help resist that urge. Now, happening today, county supervisors are set to review a multi-billion-dollar budget proposed for the next fiscal year. 17's Eitan Wallace reports the proposed budget includes cuts, but not for law enforcement.
$3 billion. That's the estimated total for the Kern County 2020-2021 fiscal year proposed budget. A budget $102.9 million larger than last year. But the county says that is due to CARES Act coronavirus aid funding from the federal government. That money will go directly to individuals and businesses affected by the coronavirus emergency. It won't help pay the county's ongoing bills. County staff anticipates key revenue sources like hotel and sales taxes will be way down this year, leading to a reduction of $56.5 million in money to operate the county government. That, according to staff, is why most county departments will see a 7.5% cut from the general fund. The department spared from cuts The Sheriff's Office with a proposed allocation of $131.9 million. Eitan Wallace, 17 News.
The proposed budget will not fund 22 vacant positions in the Kern County's DA office. Well, COVID-19 can't stop Oleander's first Pride cruise. Organizers are asking people to decorate their cars and drive through the historic Oleander Sunset neighborhood. There's also going to be a separate route for people that want to walk. Now, if you want to walk, you're asked to wear a mask and keep a proper social distance. The event starts tonight at 6 p.m. The meeting spot will be at Beale Park on the east side of Oleander. Well, two groups have teamed up to help feed a growing need in Northeast Bakersfield. Today, for the second day in a row, the Community Action Partnership of Kern are holding a food giveaway for a drive-through food giveaway. Now, yesterday, that line of cars stretched all the way to the stoplights. Medical Director Jorge Enriquez says the COVID-19 pandemic has made life harder for families that were already struggling to make ends meet. He fears the harm will last for months. Now, anyone in need can go to 3811 Mount Vernon Avenue. That's the CSF office across from Memorial Stadium at Bakersfield College. That giveaway runs until 2 this afternoon. Well, how would you like to be a part of history? Now you can. The Kern County Museum is seeking donations, preserving the history of the protest of 2020 right here in Kern County. The museum says this time will go in the history books, so they want to recognize it while protecting it. The museum is asking the community to build a local record of these historic times by donating artifacts like signs, pictures, posters, and a brief questionnaire. Now, that questionnaire is available on their website and social media accounts. All donations can be dropped off at the museum front desk by August 1st. Well, living through a work of art, that's what the Bakersfield Museum of Art calls the last couple of months. Just as a work of art is transformed into something new, the BMOA has changed to meet new guidelines in place. The museum is welcoming the public back starting tomorrow. The BMOA has implemented social distancing markers, hand sanitizing stations, increased their cleaning schedules, and mask wearing. Now, according to the museum, COVID-19 has impacted their revenue. They're asking for any donations to help support the work they continue to do.
And taking you back outside, again, we've got a nice afternoon ahead, just a little bit hazy for all of us. Temperature of 87 degrees, west-northwest wind at 12. We haven't seen much change on that front. And as we take a look at overnight, 68, right where we should be this time of year. Our normal high is 95. We'll be close to that this afternoon on the record of 111 set back in 1950. If you're going to be out tonight, your sunset will be at 8:15. Here's a look at temperatures to start off the afternoon. We're in the 80s in all valley locations, and we've got 70s and 80s in the mountains. Tehachapi at 77, to Lake Isabel at 80, and then we've got upper 80s in Ridgecrest. The skies remain clear around the state. The coastal areas have cleared out, and we're looking at nice sunny conditions all around California. Temperatures today, 84 in Sacramento, 96 in Fresno, 70s to the south and to the east of us, 90 in Vegas, with temperatures near 100 out of Phoenix, Arizona. The beaches, 69 degrees today, sunny skies. We'll see a light wind out of the west-northwest, 10 to 15. And here's a look at the overall pattern, still tracking that area of low pressure up near Idaho. It is pushing to the east slowly, and then we get some ridging off to the east. That is going to move west, and so that will help bring our temperatures up a little bit as we go throughout the next few days. I don't see a major warm-up, but a warm-up is in store. Here's a look at our Futurecast HD, and nothing headed our way anytime soon. This model going through Sunday, and we have not even a cloud to be found. Here's a look at the national weather for today and the temperatures up near the Pacific Northwest. Seattle, 58, so you can see the influence of that low over Idaho. 62 in Billings, and then as we head east, we start the warm-up. 91 in Omaha, 86 in Chicago, 70s, 80s, and 90s up into the northeast. Washington, D.C. today at 91. Here's a look at the airports, and everything is looking good. We're green in terms of delays, so there are none. And we've got sunny skies for the most part in San Francisco, Fresno, Los Angeles, and then on the East Coast, Chicago O'Hare, 88 degrees right now with some clouds, and JFK out of New York, currently 78. Here at home, air quality will be moderate with an AQI at 97. And here's a look at the numbers this afternoon. Near normal, 94 in Bakersfield, 96 in Delano, McFarland, 95, 92 in Taft. For the mountains in the Kern Valley, 80 in Fraser Park, 77 in Bear Valley Springs, Bear Valley, and then Stallion Springs right near 79. And then for the Kern Valley, we're looking at the 80s. 88 Lake Isabella, 87 in Wofford Heights in the desert today. Sunny, a southeast wind 10 to 15, 90 in Mojave with mid-90s out of Ridgecrest. Here's your extended forecast tomorrow, 96. So the mid-90s hang on through at least Friday. 4th of July, Saturday, 98, near 100 Sunday and Monday. And then for the mountains, we'll be in the 80s throughout the next 7-day period, but mid-80s, mid to upper 80s come into play for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then for the Kern River Valley, lower 90s return for you tomorrow, and we keep you in the 90s. In fact, mid-90s expected Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's a look at your forecast. We'll be right back.
Governor Gavin Newsom is speaking right now about the COVID-19 pandemic here in California. Let's take it over to him and hear what he has to say.
To take ownership and to recognize that this state has failed to address the issue of homelessness in a meaningful way. We made a commitment to you over a year ago that we were going to engage in ways we hadn't in the past to help support counties, help support cities, large and small, to address the stresses and the challenges that they face as it relates to addressing the issue of poverty in all of its forms and manifestations, but primarily as it relates to the issue of homelessness. Last year, we put out a record amount of money to cities and counties and regions to help support their efforts, but we recognized it wasn't just about money. We needed a more resourceful mindset in terms of addressing the issue, and that required us to take a different approach, a different framework of collaboration. Accordingly, I set forth at the beginning of this year my State of the State, and I decided to take the entire State of the State address and make it about one issue, the issue of homelessness, issues related to homelessness, issues related to brain health, mental health, broadly defined, taking a look back, our history, our past, present, and where we wanted to take this state into the future. We made some bold commitments in our January budget, and no sooner did we make those commitments than self-evidently we started to address the issues of this pandemic. As late as January, early February, repatriation flights into the state of California, a cruise ship off the coast of California into the San Francisco Bay Area, into the Oakland port, and obviously a pandemic that transcends the borders here in the state.
You just heard the latest from Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, he is talking about the homelessness in California and the impacts coronavirus has had on them. Now, you can continue watching his whole live stream on our Facebook page and on our website, kget.com.